Hey, and just like that, we're live. It's Thursday night. It's 9 o'clock at the East Coast. That means it's time for this week of Gear Report. And we're to break from the typical agenda. Typically, when we come here, we're to go over everything that's been published on Gear Report since last week, things that are in the review queue upcoming, and then the TJ would normally be here for TJ's Happy Hour, the shit shooting portion of the program. We're tossing all that out, all out the window because of this guy over here. So I'm going to ask Philip to introduce himself in just a moment. He is from a really cool facility down in Florida that I just learned about this week. And I said, that looks so cool. I've got to have him on to explain what I'm seeing because some of it's a little confusing. I'd also like to make some introductions to Komar down below. You can wave and say hi if you like, sir. Or you can skip to say hi. That's good. And then Kevin, the quiet hustler, doesn't even have his camera this evening. There's Komar. All right.
Hey there, Jeff. Good to be back.
Yes, good to see you. We may have to talk about next week. We have another suppressor company coming on next week, and I don't want you guys fighting, okay? So it's just a little warning, Kevin. I hope you don't feel too betrayed, but, we like all quiet stuff. So anyhow, Philip, I got to tell you, we met Taylor a couple years ago at the Iraq Veteran. They do a media event in Georgia, and we go and we camp there at a range for the weekend. Most people get Airbnbs or whatever. We camp every year, and it's really a blast as far as I'm concerned. And we were parked a couple years ago beside this tiny little woman in a Toyota 4x4 pulling a camping trailer. And we got to know her a little bit that weekend and started following what she does at Taylor Abney Adventures, I think is her Instagram. On that channel this week, I saw a bunch of really neat videos going up there. And I think you probably saw where she was posting some things as well. She was posting from your facility. So I'm going to ask you to help us understand, number one, who you are, what your facility is, and then we can start out with a high level, and then we can start rapid firing questions at you to dig down into the details, watch some videos, whatever.
Absolutely. Thank you. My name is Philip DePino, and I own a private facility in Groveland, outside of Orlando, Florida, called WOFT. WOFT stands for Where Our Familes Train. The world can be dangerous, and at WOFT, we train you and your family to be prepared for the unexpected, using realistic, customized self-defense scenarios so you can protect what matters most.
You got a pretty tight elevator pitch there. That was good.
It's one of those things where it's very hard. We do custom scenario training. Jeff, have you ever done scenario training?
I haven't done any in the firearm space. When I was in aviation, we did emergency procedures as scenarios-based training. So I have a little bit of an introduction to that kind of mindset, but I've never done it the way you guys do it. And let's see if I can get the right screen up here. Oh, yeah. The gun snob has correctly noted in the comments that TJ has arrived. So thank you.
Fantastic. Hello, TJ. Welcome.
Here with us. Yeah.
How we doing? Sorry, I'm
good.
late. Kickball night.
That's okay. TJ, have you ever done scenario training?
I have not.
Okay. What about you, Komar?
A little bit, nothing terribly shocking and amazing, but I have a little bit of experience in a shoot house and some various scenario-based training.
Yeah. So what we do is we show you safety concepts, and then we allow you to apply those safety concepts in a real-world scenario. So, for example, in one of our stations, you're walking to your vehicle, and a transient might approach you. And they might approach you while you're at your car, while you're walking to your car. And so we teach you first gear how to use something as simple as a flashlight to project your voice and to be a hard target and to think critically while under stress. And then we throttle to your skill set. So what's more likely to happen is a homeless person is going to approach you in a transitional space. and you basically tell them you don't want what you're selling, they go away. But you got to make sure they're not an immediate imminent threat first. So we inoculate you to stress on things that are more likely to happen, and then we just work up as you get better at keeping awareness. And so for safety, as long as you apply the safety concepts properly, we can't legislate violence away. It's going to happen, but we can keep it from happening to ourselves and people that we love. And it's not about using a firearm. It's about really teaching you again how to think critically while under stress, and inoculate you to stress. It's a lot of fun, and we back into family friendly stuff. So it's not a bunch of alpha males. We do train guys up to Navy SEALs and their families. I'm like a blank white canvas, and we spare no expense, Jurassic Park style. And we have simunitions, and we have everything, but we first start with, again, teaching ourselves how to see something coming, avoid it at all costs, and then if we need to, strike to get distance, and then push danger away, and then run away. And if we can't run away and we can't avoid it at all costs, then using just enough force that's not going to land us in jail, and the before, during, and after if something were to happen. So it's a life-changing thing for everyone, because we all want safety. And the customization is what I wanted when I traveled the country and I couldn't find it. So I made my own.
I like it.
And
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And that was a whiskey Oscar Foxtrot Tango.
Yes. Yeah. WOFT, Where Our Familes Train, WOFT.com. I overpaid for that domain because I wanted it.
It is what it is. Nothing cool is cheap, right?
Nothing cool is cheap. Well, like for example, let's see. I'm gonna play with this little button here and present. I'm not big on let's see, sharing screen.
Yeah.
Open settings. Google
that's all
wants
right.
to
So
open
that
it.
should prompt me once you get it set up. That should prompt me.
Let's see. Microsoft Teams, Google Chrome. Okay, use pass. So I'm not, when it comes to technology and stuff, guys, this is not, for me.
I'm right there
Google
with you.
Chrome.
I feel bad.
Well,
It says
working on. Are you bringing up the helicopter?
it says to quit and reopen it, so I'm not going to do that. Can you open the link I sent you?
Okay. Well, I've got a link that you share. Yeah.
Okay.
And so this
There
one,
you go.
we'll see if this
Philp.
one will play smoothly enough to see. And I'm also going to drop that link in the comments, along with some other links that people can look at some other videos.
So you can pause it right here if you want. You can pause it. So that is WOFT. That's a very efficient 6 acres. We have 600 acres of wetlands behind us, 8 training stations, full service live fire bays, and then full service scenario training. Helicopter pad there. It's a little grainy, and then you see the pool and the residence and all that good stuff. And it's a private facility for the first 12. We've been going for 12 years now.
I think that, like, if we come back to pull out a little bit and look at it, this 100% changed I had a preconception when I saw the videos that Taylor had posted of inside a facility with a vehicle and people look like simunitions, probably.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, all right. We got something getting loud here. That's another one. There we go. I have some other videos trying to open the background. Apparently one of them low point it started playing. But I'm putting some links. I've already put the links in the discussion so that folks can go explore these. It'll probably be better and isn't really strong enough while I'm broadcasting, as you can see, where it's just spinning. But that looks like a scenario that someone himself in.
Sure. Yeah, that's our coffee shop station. We have 8 different stations on property.
I mean, it's not moving because the internet is.
Yeah, I don't worry about playing them, but just the pictures.
But when I read a description of Yeah, I'm going to close one, and it's causing issues with my stream trying to get these to load. So I'm going to close those. And if anyone wants to do the whole videos, the videos are fast, really. And I kind of feel for Philip trying to explain how all of the things that they do work without those pictures. But this really kind of reset the parameters for me, just looking at, a facility that has a manicured lawn, a swimming pool, looks like a party deck, but then also has indoor training, it looks like on one side, and an outdoor range on the other. It's like, this is, I don't want to call it an adult playground, but this isn't where Bubba goes to train,
You want to know what our unofficial nickname is? And I always get in trouble when I say this: Tactical Disneyland.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, it's one of those things where, again, when I was traveling the country, I was training with a lot of really cool guys, and I'm a civilian. I don't have a military background. I don't have a law enforcement background. I was a husband, and then I was a dad, and I played college football. I have a very good eye-hand coordination, and I basically did it backwards. I went and did the competitive shooting version. I learned from a lot of really cool guys, and I started hosting scenario training, and I would bring in world champion instructors. So it would be a fantasy shooting camp combined with scenario training. And then I went and got force science certifications, and just learned from a lot of good experts like Ken Murray and a lot of guys that were basically the founders of scenario training. And now we put on these really cool events that look at me like Voltron, where, you have a bunch of robots that come together and form one big super robot. It's not me doing the training. It's a lot of really cool guys that come with me, and that while I'm doing scenario training, I have IPSC grandmasters and world champion shooters on the handgun range. I have, there's our website. I have retired special forces and secret service and guys that come, and we want to make it a family friendly place, so that it's not this alpha male thing that, the bathrooms have to be clean, the food is catered, and those that want to afford a higher level experience, that's what we're all about.
And when you say you have grand champions, I mean, these are people that are like well known. I mean, this is, like you said, kind of like a fantasy camp built into legit, like very detailed professional training is what it looks like to me.
Yeah, we have Lena Mitchlick as one of our guest instructors. Her dad Jerry, he's been a few places, done a few things. Daniel Horner, Diana Muller, these are all national 3-gun champions and things like that. And they just come to us, and we are a blank white canvas that we give them the paints, and they can paint whatever brush they want. And the bigger picture for me is, we want to start inviting legislators to come, so that we can educate them, so they can make educated decisions. We want to be a nice place that, you feel comfortable bringing your wife and your kids. And then again, like I just referenced earlier, learning safety concepts. And that's just something that was my download. That's what I pray about. And, again, to visit us, you need a background check and a character witness. We don't just let anyone show up, and we're private, so it's not open to the public.
Wow. That's neat. So, yeah, this is a really exciting thing that you've set up here. And so you want to tell us like what we're seeing here in this picture?
Yeah.
We've got that looks like the room that I saw in some of the videos that
Yes.
Taylor posted.
Yeah.
What
that's our
happens
low light
in here?
So this is our low light building. This is where we learn how to detect and de-escalate potentially violent situations. This is also where we do our debrief. So this is where we meet in the morning and we go through our safety briefing. This particular class you're looking at was sponsored by Heckler and Koch. WOFT acts as a boutique. So we have premier partners through Sig Sauer and HK. and also USCCA is one of our brand partners. And when HK wants to roll out a new product, when SIG wants to use us as an outpost, they come to us and they bring their distributors, they bring their high-end VIPs, and then we provide a custom, one-of-a-kind experience. And so we do not do volume. We average 6 people before lunch and 6 people after lunch. So we can train 12 people per day through that kind of customization. So everyone understands that when I tell them, hey, listen, you can go buy something off the rack at JCPenney's, or you can go to a tailor and pick some cloth and the silk, and then they can fit you, and then they customize a suit to you. We do that with you and your family through safety training. So depending on what you've done before, what firearm do you have, where do you carry, why do you carry there, what kind of holster do you have, and we reverse engineer you, and then we just make suggestions, and then we role play what you have. What is your everyday carry? And then we put you in situations that, again, first gear for first gear, and work you up to the potential for you to use it and access your gear. And then we give you suggestions on how to potentially be safer. So with 6 or 7 different scenario stations, we further customize your experience. So for example, let's say we've got 24 people. We'll train 24 people over a 2-day period, 4 learning stations, 6 people per station. So not only will we customize your training, but we will also break you up into 4 different skill sets per training station. So it's not just about a firearm. We do blade training. We do anti-carjacking. We do empty hand. We do coffee shop scenarios. We do precision rifle. And then you get into the live fire stuff, which is a lot of fun. The USPSA, Steel Challenge stuff. So it's very difficult to explain what we do, because I haven't found anyone yet doing something like this at this level that's family friendly. So that's
Sure.
our marketing director's nightmare now, that I'm tasking him with trying to say, have you done scenario training? And someone says no. And we're like, okay, there's nothing I can even compare it to. If you have had scenario training, it typically has been military or law enforcement. And military and law enforcement, they don't allow people to go hands-on because of liability. Military and law enforcement, typically they'll run 1 person at a time, and everyone else doesn't get to watch because they have 3 or 4 staged runs. And while it's fantastic training, when you need a crash course and you're going overseas or you're pushing a car, for civilians, they don't typically learn that way. So it's something that it's organic. It's something that everyone gets to watch everyone else's scenarios. And since it's concept based, you have an idea but Jeff, how you might apply the concept might be different than how Kevin applies the concept, might be different than how TJ applies the concept based on your life experience, right? And then you're walking to your car and Jeff is doing something because it's just himself. And then I say, Jeff, I'm going to give you your better half with you in this run. Now you can't run away. You might have a loved one or your child with you, and now you can't run away. And so it's a lot of fun. And for me, when I travel the country, if I'm not learning something, I'm not having fun anymore. And if I'm not learning something, and if my family can't be with me, I don't want to go. I've got a 17-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter, and I want them to have fun, and I want to spend the time with them before they grow up and move out of the house. And I would rather invest a little bit more to have the best possible experience with my valuable time. And that's what we're built for.
Yeah, it looks really neat to me. I'm going to ask from our panel a couple things. Y'all can jump in with some questions, comments, observations along the way. I don't know what it is about your presence, Philip. These guys won't shut up on a normal week, and now they're just like hanging on every word you're saying and not saying anything.
No, it's really cool.
But I am going to ask.
we're doing God's work.
I am
The
going to
picture-
ask, while we're talking, if TJ or Komar or someone who has a fast internet connection can hit some of those videos that I posted links for, the YouTube videos, there are some things that you see in there that I think are going to be far harder to discuss if we can't see them. And my
Sure.
internet is not cooperating right now. So if one of you guys with a fast connection can do that, and then we can share it on the screen. I attempted to do it and it didn't work. So,
yeah, while they're working on that, the picture
Yeah.
that you're showing right now, that's Tatiana. She is family to us. She is with Taryn Butler for Taryn Tactical. Taryn trained. Are you familiar with that name?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Taryn's been out to train with us, and the ongoing joke is he was supposed to come out for a half a day, and then he ended up staying for 3 days. Just having a lot of fun, and that's just kind of what we do. Yeah, here you go. It's a little faster. Eric Foster. He's another family member.
Let's give it a shot. See if we can get it to play.
Tesseract Ventures and the Tesseract Venture Fund. I came out to WOFT for the first time, I think 18 months ago. I'd heard rumors of this high-end fantasy camp resort, some of the best training, some of the best firearms training, some of the best scenario training that was available. And I had to come experience it for myself. And I came out with incredibly high expectations. And I have to say, I was absolutely blown away. And in fact, I've been doing a lot of training over 20, 30 years. And I have to say that unequivocally, WOFT is the best training, the best instructors, and also the best experience from start to finish. In fact, I think no higher testimony I can give that literally after my first trip on the plane home, I registered for 5 more classes in the next 18 months. Step to the left. Keep going. Keep going. One of the best things about WOFT is the foundation of scenario training. You can go a lot of places and get tactical training. You can stand in a field under the sun and shoot.
Nice.
So-
Is that playing all right?
Yes, it's playing great on my end. If there's a
Beautiful.
way to enlarge it on the screen, that might be helpful. But we already saw the first thing that I wanted to show, because we all know what an outdoor gun range looks like. And that looked fairly well equipped, but outdoor range is outdoor range. What I'd not seen before was that dark room with is it simunition or something like simunition?
Yeah, UTM, Ultimate Training Munitions. Yeah.
Okay, good. That is a game changer from anything I've seen. And,
Yeah.
I don't want to lessen anything else, because I'm sure, especially with the level of people you talked about bringing in to do some of the boutique training classes, I mean, those are worthy of discussion in their own right. But this is the first training like this that I have seen.
Yeah, it's
I
incredible.
say
It
that
looks like they were running through tasers also.
Yeah, we have shock knives. We play pretend as real as possible. We have Tony Blauer spear gear, and again, it's one of those things where each station you learn a concept, and then we allow you to apply that concept in another station. So the more time you give us, the more we can start to learn you, and then we dial in the training further. So it's something that we teach you how to think critically. So it's just a lot of fun.
You
And
guys
then,
have lasers.
Yeah, we we like to keep it. We practice and we hyper focus on learning how to interrupt your OODA loop, to try to distract you. And your job is to not get distracted by us. Is to continue to focus on your overall safety and then movement. And that organic training helps you retain it longer by. Instead of motor skills, we teach you via motor learning. Yeah, see, this is our large group scenario class. So once a year, we rent 13 vehicles, and that is our gas station. And we use the coffee shop as the convenience store. And I build 40-person scenarios. So Jeff would get a 3x5 card, and it would say, okay, Jeff, on the siren, go to car 5. You're going to drive to pump 3. You let your car run half empty, so you're going to stay there for a minute and a half. And then TJ, you and Jeff are riding today, and you're on a trip, and you're on the turnpike, so you have to use the bathroom. So while Jeff's getting gas, TJ has to go in and use the restroom, which is easy because it's just the two of you, right? But now all of a sudden you start having your family with you, and you start doing other things, and that's just the two of you. Then I pre-position 38 other people with role players, and it's things that you see only on a military scale, that when they're teaching guys, rangers, how to clear a town or something, or they do an active shooter drill at school, but they're just a lot of role players. This is something that takes dozens, if not hundreds of hours to plan these scenarios, and then we role play the scenarios, and then it's like a car crash, and you analyze the data after you hit the siren and everyone starts going the way they're going. And we have 3 camera crews, and we capture all that content. So it's more about if you're walking into the coffee shop and it gets robbed while you're in there, or you walk in and it's getting robbed, what do you do? And your movement from that. And then on a you can track 3 people, you can track 5 people, but you can't track 15 people. So the best gift I can give you is that you simply react to what's happening. And most of the time it's to learn to be a good witness. What'd you see? Where were they? And just avoid it altogether, because the liability that comes with, guys that draw their firearm, you're going to get arrested. And, that's the big takeaway is videos that we show you for someone that's really exciting. Like, you saw Taylor's video. That was 3.5 hours of training. And that was Taylor working up to her last run, where she was doing everything really well. We knew she had done a lot of competitive shooting, and so we gave her the potential of a higher level experience, and I wanted to see how she was going to react. And so that was just a really cool video to show. But scenario training is very easy to be taken out of context. So that's the other challenge we have, is that you can only show so much on a video, and then everyone that comes to us, like Eric was talking about, just talks about. That's Crystal Dunn. She's a professional shooter. She's going to be here tomorrow. We have a Amy Robbins Alexo Athletica event that we have a women's class coming in, and Amy is bringing a lot of her concealed carry garments and things. So we're going to help her test that out. Like, how many people out there bought that new holster? They bought, some concealed carry, what have you. When have you ever got to test that other than a 2-dimensional range, And so again, these are the types of things. And the minivan, we wrapped it. So that was our ice cream truck. And we played, we played ice cream music, from a candy van as it rolled around the gas station. It was kind of spooky and just kind of fun. It's just, when you can train anywhere with anyone, that's where you come, to us. So it's kind of cool.
Nice. This is incredible. Do you do anything with paintball?
We stay away from paintball just because, and we did airsoft early on, like probably year 2. Airsoft doesn't cycle in a gun like a real bullet like UTM would. And again, airsoft, there is a lot less liability with airsoft, and it can still hurt. But every time you pull the trigger, sometimes a BB doesn't come out. Right. And so a UTM cycles in a real gun. It is a military grade, and it's expensive. A UTM kit, you have to buy. First off, for example, to create a UTM, you have to buy a full gun. Then you have to buy a UTM kit, which runs between $525 to $675, and then break the gun in half and then put the slide on that gun. But what that does is it allows you now that UTM barrel will only fire certain UTM ammunition, which makes it very safe. You're not going to have an Alec Baldwin moment. But that UTM ammo is, depending on how much we buy, we're not the FBI, so we're spending between 67 cents and 80 cents a round. So a 3-day class with us is $3,750. and that includes all your gear, all your ammo, your food, and a 3-to-1 student to instructor ratio. And those instructors are obsessed with like a samurai, with being the best at what they do. And so you learn a lot more with us than you would at another class where it's a 12-to-1 ratio. Yeah, good job, UTM. So, you know, they only make slides, and they only make kits, and you can only buy kits for guns if a military around the world uses that firearm. So, for example, yeah, they don't even make a slide yet for a P365. You know, the number one selling handgun in America for the last 2 years. They won't make it because a military doesn't use it. So it's the safest. You know, and it's again, I just imagine if money were no object, and you could have the best gear, and you could have, we overcharge for the classes for many years, and everything we make above and beyond the classes goes back in to improve the property and the experience. So, you know, this year we're actually going to start a 501c3, and finally we're going to get people that, you know, can help us, because you know, coming up in our April class, we have a law enforcement family that we don't charge, that, you know, they're coming in, and it's something that our way of giving back, and we want to help as many people as possible. And my download is, you know, flashlights, you know, things that you guys can carry in gun-free zones. You know, this is our WOFT flashlight that PowerTac made for us, and it is 1200 lumens, and it's the same size as a Streamlight ProTac 1AA. That's 350 lumens, but this is 1200 lumens.
Wow.
And it's
What
rechargeable, and
battery does it use?
it's got a 14,500 rechargeable battery, and it's the size of a AA, but it is very powerful. And until they invent a stronger battery, you will not get a brighter light that's that thin, if that makes sense. So this is something where, you know, we released this at SHOT Show. It's new on the market, and nothing else is like it. So it's similar to our training, you know, where it's like you see this scalloped bezel. Shoot. No, there we go. Sorry. It's
That's pretty wicked.
Yeah, that scallop bezel right there, that's not in that's sharp enough to open a box.
Huh.
And so you sit there and you say, well, you know, it's going to get flagged when you go through security. Well, you just screw it off. And then you wear it as a ring.
There you go.
And now you're good to go again.
And now you're good to go. Right. Now you're good to go. So again, that's just, you know, we're a think tank. You know, we don't tell you what to do. We give you concepts, and then we let you apply them, and then we get to see how that works for you. And that kind of custom training is not done anywhere. You know, just we so I so respect all the boys in blue, and retired military and law enforcement, and we want to help as many families as possible, and we want to help as many people as possible. And we think that teachers, you know, we want to help, and our 501c3, we want to provide funding so that every teacher can get a flashlight, and we want to incorporate some of our low light training into active shooter training in Florida schools. And we think that will help inspire and empower teachers to get more involved in their own classroom safety.
That's pretty wicked, man.
Yeah.
And what can you tell us about the residents?
So
The residents.
Yeah. You guys have like
you're saying where they put people up who are there for the training?
Yeah, there was that residence that had the pool behind it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Curious about it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's my house. That's where I live.
Okay. There you go. So you don't do
Well, it's
like
got the pool.
UTM munitions assault through that building.
Yeah, no, not actually. When it was getting constructed, the joke is that the shoot house was done before my house was done on property. And I never intended on doing this at this level. This was something that I honestly was just for me and our close friends. And when I traveled the country, my wife was like, "Why do you keep traveling around the country? Can't you find some place around here to train?" And I'm like, no, you can't go to a range and draw from a holster. There's too much liability. You can't shoot
Yeah.
more than 2 rounds a second at a public range inside. And you go out to an outdoor range, and again, they're great, but they're in the middle of nowhere. They have porta potties, and you don't know who's shooting next to you. So for those people who want to spend and invest a little bit more to guarantee an experience, that's why we exist. But again, it's like, you have nothing to compare it to. And there are really good guys and really good instructors all over the country that will come to you. The difference with us is that we try to be on that same level as quality for instruction. We just have a multi-million-dollar, experience that your wife and your kids will be more comfortable to learn the safety concepts. And then we have all the equipment and all the gear, so you don't have to worry about stuff. And that's why SIG partners with us. That's why HK partners with us. And, I want to help as many quality Americans as possible. And, we reserve a few spots in each class for retired, military, law enforcement, and then active, spouses and auxiliary and things like that. We want to help as many people and, first responders, and we just want to give back as much as possible. I'm not doing this. It is for profit so that I can afford to continue to improve it, but it's not something I pull a salary from. This is something that, Diana Muller started this competitive shooter, came and trained with me in 2015. And she said, you need to open this up. More people need to know about this place. And I'm like, I don't like people. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't like people. I'm not that.
I think
I'm
we
more
might
of an
be
introvert.
related.
I'm more of an introvert. But the people that I do like, I really do. And it's like, I just don't want to, time is short and our time is very valuable. So that's why we exist, for those who want to invest more for themselves and their own personal family safety. And, again, I could talk all day, so I apologize. I'll be quiet. I just very passionate about what we do, and it hit me. My download
been
from
really
above.
neat to hear about it. It's been fascinating to hear about it, and from my perspective, what I saw and what Taylor posted, what I've seen in the videos you sent me, but that I watched earlier today, plus some of the stuff that Kevin's been kind enough to handle showing us. It's different than what I've seen before in the technology involved, in the scope of trying to make it realistic, And I mentioned earlier that I'd done some scenario stuff in aviation, and, we'd have simulators and really big build out, expensive, simulate a plane crash in the ocean and you got to bail out and everything. With lighting and wind and lightning and all of that. I've never seen that type of approach taken on the civilian market in general, but then kind of the next level is in some of these videos, like this section right here, we see a mom with kids.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain I've never seen that anywhere.
No, because that's
really
Renee, and she was nervous about training, and she came and trained with us for 3 days first before she brought her family, just to kind of vet it. Daniel Horner, world champion, has got tremendous accolades. I mean, I could sit here and talk about Daniel. I mean, in Lena Michlik, and I consider these people family. It's And when Daniel came to us the first time, he was going to bring his family and his parents. And, Daniel is a 12-time USPSA multi-gun champion. He's a 4-time 3-gun national champion, an 8-time sniper champion, a 2-time IDPA national champion. And, you know, he's a world champion shooter, and he's sponsored by Sig Sauer. Daniel can train anywhere. He can train at the Sig Academy, the $25 million Sig Academy. So why does Daniel bring his daughter to me? You know, and it's because we are family friendly, and we focus on first gear, and we don't go to second gear until you get first gear down. So like, for example, this is a mom, and the kids they're having a lot of fun. And in this run, they're actually like, okay, what do you see? What's different? You know, you're another set of eyes for mom. So we're going to play the game of who's looking at mom when you're at the gas station. And all of a sudden it's like, remember those Sunday comics where it's like, you know, what's different from this picture to this picture?
Yeah.
It's getting the kids involved and excited about wanting to learn more. So it's not scaring them. It's just getting them more involved. And now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, mom, now I understand what you mean when we're loading up in the car and you want us to pay attention. We're in a transitional space. You know, now they're listening to mom give commands, and it's getting them all on the same page. That's what's going to make the family safer. Not about where all of a sudden Renee's like, I don't need to go to ninja school, Jeff. That's why I have you. You know, you get the better half, right, TJ? Where it's like, hey, TJ, you know, you've got it. You're good. TJ's here. We're just gonna.
That's what would happen. Like, handle this. I'm like, all right.
Right, and so that's what we do. And it's so much fun. It's just that, you know, we're unapologetically expensive. Because it's a lot. I mean, to run something like this, it's a lot, but it is the best experience that I've been able to find.
And maybe it was this video with Eric, or maybe it was one of the other folks. I'm not sure, but a father was talking about having, I think he said 3 daughters, like 1 in college, 2 about to be in college, something like that. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that's kind of the scenario I'm in. And man, wouldn't it be amazing if everyone could do this type of training? So that's what I'm going to say is your next challenge is you have figured out the boutique model to offer this. And maybe you don't care to take on that challenge, but someone else would want to get the WOFT Lite franchise and figure out how to do a little bit more accessible version for everyone who can't make it to the boutique version.
Yeah,
because this is like life-saving, life-changing type mindset change and skill development. I would think.
Philip, this just blows my mind. Right, I've been in the military for 18 years. Okay, I've done a lot of training, a lot of mounts and urban assault and all that garbage, right? But I've never, ever done it with my own kids.
Yes.
And these kids right here are shining flashlights in this attacker's face. This just blows my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Look at that.
Yeah, no,
it's just incredible.
Yeah, as
because
a
it's
dad,
a really, really significant portion of training that you miss is what's the entire rest of your family doing?
Yes.
You know?
Amen. Most
of the time they're just on their phones.
Well, I just sent you another link, so check the chat there, and that is a video. One of our guest instructors, and again another family member. I call him family. Dom Rosso. Does that name familiar to you?
Yeah.
So Dom was on SEAL Team 6 for 12 years. And I sought Dom out because of his, he's a world-class instructor for everything, but his blade training is just, everything he does is impeccable. And I earned his respect by taking a class with him. And then I invited him to come down, and he honored me with, bringing his family to us. And then we've done some really cool, epic things. And it's neat because someone like him, it's neat when someone like me can bring value to someone like him. And it's what you mentioned, Kevin, that, and this is only 1 minute and 34. So back it up and then hit play, because I can't say it better than Dom.
All right, guys, I'm at WOFT. I'm Dom Rosso, and we are in Central Florida right now. We're actually in the coffee shop, which a lot of the scenarios go on in. And the scenario training just wrapped up for the day. This was my first opportunity to do scenario training at WOFT. And as much as I've done, I was blown away by the professionalism and the complexity and the realism of all these scenarios and how much you can really bring to the table as far as layering what we can learn. I mean, it really was an opportunity to make myself better and more of an asset. And the best part was I got to bring my family here. I actually got to do scenarios and integrate my family in the scenarios. There was just so many different dynamics, and I know that the possibilities are really endless with what they can do here. The facility itself is world-class. You have live fire ranges, you have CQB ranges, you have a shoot house, and just bringing that all together, being able to do scenario training is a holistic approach that really doesn't exist in this country. And it's just a special place. So we created a lot of moments. We crushed everything. I'll be continuing to teach here. It's been amazing getting to know the family here at W.O.F.T and what they're capable of. But I did say the possibilities are endless. So if you're not checking them out, I highly recommend going to check out what they're up to, what they're continuing to build, because I believe, just like Dynamis, we're just getting started. So it's a great partnership, and they're working a lot of good things in this industry, all to make you safer and to make this country a better place. That is at the heart of everything that we're doing here. And we had a great time, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
A lot in that video.
And one of the things at the very end, 3-4 seconds before the end, it looks like everyone's in the debrief room talking, and there are toddlers wandering around in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I have never seen a training for stuff like this
Yeah.
where kids are allowed on the property, let alone to be a part of hearing about and experiencing that kind of mindset development when they're at that small, impressionable age.
Yeah, that's a yellow brick road. So that is the center of the like I mentioned, large group scenario. So that the coffee shop's to the right, and that's Dom walking down the yellow brick road, and you see all the role players, and depending on what gear you have depends on what the potential of the scenario is. And we have a lot of observation areas that are built so that when we're doing this training, the family is locked up in an observation area that you can watch. So, and the kids, that's what the pool is for. And we have trampoline and a fire pit and the horseshoes and all that stuff. And it's just something that, like growing up, right? Remember your parents were always the ones where they wanted your friends to come over to your house. Mom wanted you to have part of your house because they didn't want you over there. They wanted you where you can watch them. And so like for me, selfishly, it's like I overdeveloped this so I don't have to travel anymore. Everyone just comes to me. It's fantastic.
My parents didn't want me at the house. It's fun.
Yeah.
So no, that's a really cool thing, and again, I'm honored. We're doing God's work, and I want to help as many families as possible. And I don't know how to do anything half-ass. So, I mean, to have the video crew to capture it is very expensive. To have a commercial photographer there to capture is very expensive. To have dedicated people to set up and then behind the scenes. So I have to give, I am the 50,000 foot overview, but I have a team of people behind me that make sure the food is properly ordered and everything stays clean and the equipment is pre-positioned. So when you guys show up, the stuff's already ready to go because you filled out your 50 questionnaire. And we know that TJ is right-handed and his belt size is 33. Joking, you're probably 38, 39.
33 is good.
I know, right? Scenario instructors, we just kind of go off but
Yeah.
Crystal
we
just
have, laughed in the background. I heard her.
And if you have, with your valuable time, we want to run as many scenarios as possible. And so the difference with us compared to other people is the going rate is $300 a day. You can go train with a world champion of carry optics, JJ Rakaza, fantastic instructor. I highly recommend you guys check him out. He's like in Clearwater area. And JJ came out with his family and we were able to train him. I'll send you, that's another link. I've got just hundreds of videos, but, JJ is going to give you fantastic instruction, but it's going to be at a public range somewhere. And for a shooter, no problem. TJ, me, Jeff, it's like, Kevin, it's like Komar, it's like you guys will go there and we'll learn from the best and it's awesome. But my wife's not going to sit out in the range all day in the sun and go use the public restrooms. You know, my 14-year-old, my 17-year-old are not going, I don't want them to slow the class down because you're going to have a bunch of people there that want to learn from the best. With us, we would break the family up into 6 different groups, so that the kids will be over here learning about safety and empty hand and maybe jujitsu fundamentals. And dad would be over here, you know, doing advanced stuff, where mom will be learning over here doing firearms fundamentals. And then you all kind of come together for lunch, and then there's some things you do together for anti-carjacking maybe, or you do some stuff in the coffee shop together. And it's completely custom. And no one does this. So we are talking to people. I've had some big companies that want to come in and alien abduct me and dissect my brain. And, you know, the stuff that I've been learning organically over 12 years, there's some really big players around the country that want to really start bringing in proper scenario training. And the challenge is, when you make something for everyone, you make it for no one. And when you try to scale something so big, you miss the potential of that life-changing experience because it's custom for you. And so, you know, Diamond Chrysler makes a minivan, and they sell hundreds of thousands of them every year. But you know what Diamond Chrysler also makes? A Dodge Viper. And so it's like, you know, that's kind of us, for example. Eventually, we're going to be gobbled up and acquired by someone who wants the McDonald's secret sauce, you know, and then I need someone else to take it. And okay, because it's not wired in my DNA to water down what we're doing. You know, like I can't. That's just something that you know. But someone who wants to come in and then learn how we do things, and have me advise on stuff like that, that's something I'm open for, because you're right. You know, Jeff, I want the country to know this. I want to have our flashlight, low light curriculum in every school in the country. And, you know, it's organic. I talk about, we're Madagascar. Okay. We broke off from Africa 100 million years ago, and we've been evolving way down here by ourselves. And a lot of the concepts that we do is back through force science, and it's validated through Ken Murray and a lot of these experts. But we've come about it the back way as a civilian first. So it's you know, Kevin, it's not too hard, too fast. It's something that allows, and it empowers and engages your spouse that has no training at all, that doesn't know how they're going to get from here to there. And that is where we hard focus on step 1, and then they'll want to go to step 2, where everyone goes from step 1 to step 5, or step 1 to step 10. And then they're like, oh, that's great. You know, Jeff, you go play with the boys. I'm going to be over here doing anything else other than, you know, going to this safety class that I really need. But, you know, and until, you know, guys, we're in the largest social experiment, you know, of our time, right? We've got 5.5, you know, depending on who you believe or who you talk to, we've got 5.5 million more people in the country that were here, you know, during this last election. And you have, you know, people being mentally ill people and illegals being let out of prisons, and you have defunding of the police, and you have inflation, and then you have gun control seasoned on top of all that crap. And it's like the world is getting dangerous. And so, you know, I don't want to make something for everyone. I want to make a custom experience that if you want your family to really learn something and be a better version of themselves every day when they leave than when they, what we're built for, you know. But it's also 3 days of training for a family of 4 is 15 grand. And that's a lot of money. But it's, you know, if I have friends that go skiing to freaking Deer Valley every year, and they go skiing, they go snow skiing, and they stay at a room that's $1,400 a night. They stay for 7 nights, and they spend, you know, $600-700 a day on the slopes going skiing. And here's the thing, guys, I can only train at WOFT, I can only train 1,500 people a year. Out of all the millions of gun owners around the country, I can only train 1,500 people a year, because this kind of custom training, I can't scale it. I can only train 6 people before lunch and 6 people after lunch. So that's one of those things where I'm praying for, and I want someone that's got immensely deep pockets to come in and partner with us. And that's what the 503c is, 50C3. I'm going to get it right one of these days. To help us scale this, because again, I do everything I can and I give more than I should. And I try to help as many as I can. I give away as much as, and at the same time, there are more bullet traps. There's more MGM bullet traps I want to buy for our shoot house. And we want to get proper, I want to get AstroTurf. This sounds so bougie. I want to get AstroTurf, and I want to get the rest of the handgun range covered. And that's it's going to be $100,000. And, how many classes do you have to run to get $100,000 on top of what you're making just to cover expenses and have a 3-to-1 student instructor ratio? It's ridiculous. So
that's the way to go.
It is. Well, yeah. So again, that's one of those things where what happens is people come to us once a year. Most people come to us once a year. The guys that can afford it come to every class. I've got guys that have been training with me for 9 years, and most of them come once a year to stress test what they do, and then they work on what inefficiencies or where their weak parts are, because that gets exposed in scenario training, and then they have something to shoot for. No pun intended. And then they come back a year later, and then they get, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to go through scenarios again. And it's so cool because it's so motivating and they have so much fun. And it's like, we're always looking to grow a deeper bench. So it's like, I compete with no one. I want to, as many people that want to come to us and help us, exchange of value is all I'm asking for. And I so pray that more people, pick up things like this around the country. And the big challenge is liability. It's the liability that, you get too many people that go too hard, too fast. And that's where scenario training, people can get hurt if you don't do it properly. So I like to say I'm like the Japanese puffer fish sushi chef. That fish that if you fillet it wrong, it'll kill you. There's a Japanese puffer fish that if you cut it the wrong way and it leaks into whatever, the food can kill you. But it's a delicacy in Japan. And it's like, you have to go through some apprenticeship for 10 years to be able to learn how to fillet this fish. And so I look at that and I'm like, scenario training is a tremendous amount of responsibility, because people are open to suggestions when you're really, because your mind's almost in a state of meditation when you're reprogramming the brain to take in more information. The structure of your brain changes when you're learning something organically that fast, right? If anyone plays sports, it's the equivalent of, I can teach you how you can learn how to shoot a free throw. You're standing there at the free throw line with a basketball and you're shooting a free throw, right? What does that have to do with anything on teaching you how to play in a game? There's a game there, the crowd's yelling and screaming, and it's like, unless you're shooting a free throw, you're dynamically moving around the court, you're turning and you're shooting and you're jumping and guys are around you and everything's around you. And it's like, the more games you play, the better you get. Scenario training everywhere else in the country, people are just sitting there shooting free throws. You're on a 2-dimensional range, where it's like, that's down range. You have your holster and you're drawing your gun and you're shooting a paper target. It's not shooting back. You have no pain compliance. So it's like you're training yourself to not move because of liability. You can't. You're not drawing from concealment because you can't, and you're not shooting another target that's moving because you can't, and you don't have that fear of, shit, it might shoot back at me. And that fear of getting hit, and it freaking hurts. Feels like you get hit with a UTM and it feels like a horsefly is biting you. So, but that kind of training is what Kevin got put in harm's way, where a lot of people, and God bless the military, guys that were put in harm's way downrange, that they learned a really important skill set. How the hell do they teach that to their loved ones? How do they teach them to think critically while under stress? And so, and more importantly, how do they teach them when they're under stress to not use that force? because depending on where you live and depending on what prosecutor and what state you live in, you're going to jail if you don't retreat. Thank God I live in Florida, and it's like,
I know. It's the best state.
Right. So, the USCCA is fantastic, because they have stuff that helps people, because even in Florida right now, they're passing constitutional carry, and I'm going to be in Tallahassee on Monday and Tuesday, basically talking the fact that they need open carry to be included with constitutional carry, because Florida is ridiculous that they're doing a permitless concealed carry. Great, but do open carry. And not because I want to carry a firearm open. By all means, I do not. But, it's been abused in places where someone accidentally prints, and then all of a sudden they get in trouble for the law.
Yeah.
You get a small framed woman and she carries, and then all of a sudden someone sees it and they report her. And then it's like, so education, gentlemen. And again, I'm sorry, I monopolized the call. I just, it's just really cool what we're doing.
Right.
And again, it's hard to convey.
Oh, it sounds really neat. I'm going to ask for, we've hit our hour. I'm trying to reel us back. We used to do the show in a half hour, then it got to an hour, and then it got to an hour and a half. We've had some 2-hour shows. You got things to do tomorrow. We do too. So I'm trying to dial us back towards an hour. We're at an hour, so I'm going to make last call for all the folks out there in the chat. Thanks for the comments and questions that have come in so far. Please, if you have anything else that you'd like to hear about, now is the time to get your questions in. I would like to bring up on the screen here, if you'd like some more information, Philip has got a nice contact form on the website. I've already put the WOFT.com in the chat, in the discussion. There's some links to their Book Now page and their videos. They got a variety of videos in there that show various different things, and I love that some of those actually show the interaction with an entire family, because that's such a unique thing. I encourage you, if you have any questions, use that form here to ask them, or look at their in the, not the training gallery, which one here? They've got a couple courses listed here where if you're ready to book, you can just click through and do your booking. It'll take you to a page like this where you fill out some of the information. I assume you have a significant questionnaire that follows the booking.
I got in trouble. I got in trouble because at first I'd have all the questions up front, and the marketing director, the sales director, I'm not a sales guy whatsoever. I am not. And so I was asking all the questions up front. They're like, no, make it easy for them to sign up, and then send them all the information after sales 101. And I'm like, I'm completely opposite. So always improving.
It's tough when you're a detail-oriented person who likes to have all the information up front, because that's not the world in general. So,
hey, Philip, I have a comment for you.
Absolutely.
Jeff, if you could, click on About Us, please. Up there at the top left side of his page. Just scroll up.
I thought I had that one open already, but I don't think I do.
Oh, it's fine.
Yep.
Just scroll up, hit About Us, and then scroll down a bit. Because nowhere in your About Us does it mention Florida at all. Did you know that?
Right. Yeah,
it doesn't say that there, right?
Interesting, yeah.
Then scroll to the bottom and hit Contact Us, right there on the left. And if you hit that, you'll notice that it has the chat, it has the submission. But if you scroll down, it doesn't mention Florida there either.
Yeah.
Anywhere on this page does it mention the state of Florida.
Interesting.
Just so you know, I wanted to give you that.
We'd like to keep everything secret down here. Keep all your riffraff out of our state.
This place is so secret that it doesn't mention Florida on any of those pages.
You gotta get them to sign up first. That's the way it works. You sign up, and then we're gonna go to Florida. Awesome.
Then you tell them where it is. It's like the
I'm
old
not
James Jaeger
specifically
method.
asking for the address. Not specifically looking for the address, but I wanted you to know that it doesn't say there anywhere that you're in the state of Florida.
Interesting. Yeah, no, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Kevin
It might
tearing
be
apart the
buried in
website.
it might be in some of your profiles or something, right? Because I started
Yeah,
looking at some of those,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it doesn't mention about your facility being there. I just wanted to
yeah.
let you know.
So it I get so much heat from the folks that have been training with us from year 1 till about year 6, because it was the first and second rule of Fight Club from year 1 to year 6. We're in year 12 now, because it was like, guys, we can't tell anybody about this, because if everyone brings one person back, we can't scale what we're doing, because it is, we don't have enough instructors. We don't, I will not dilute what we're doing. So now I'm just blessed that we have a lot of really good family, God-fearing, highly qualified people that put the student first. There are no egos. We leave them at the gate. And, for people that invest their valuable time, but, at first it was really funny that, the guy, and they still bring it up. It's like first and second rule of Fight Club. That was us.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, we got a
All
pro
right.
shop
Any more
now and all
questions
kinds
or
of cool stuff.
comments from within the panel here?
Yeah, man, it was awesome. I mean, it seems like an awesome concept, and I don't know about bringing my family to train. That'd be a mess.
Yeah. Well, I'll remind you, your better half has been lurking here, so be careful what you say. At least if you're
when he said
call her
33 waste, when he said 33 waste, I heard her cackle across the house, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna call her a mess, at least call her a hot mess. Come on.
Beautiful disaster or something. I don't know.
I love meeting quality Americans, and I really appreciate you guys, short notice having me on. And again, it was one of those things. Diana Muller and her Ambassador Academy, similar to us, and Diana Muller and DC Project, the stuff that they're doing is second to none. And that's how I get to meet awesome people like Taylor, because everyone that owns a firearm is an ambassador. If think about it, in the gun community. And that's something that our rights are just one generation away from being gone. And so that's one of those things where find Gunners of America, DC Project, Ambassador Academy, Diana Muller, those kinds of people are doing really, really good things. And they are the tip of the spear. They are the front line for education, not legislation. And I try to help them as much as possible. And we make a good tag team.
Yeah. And I absolutely love something you mentioned very early in the discussion and haven't revisited, the idea that you can use this scenario-based training to help change the mindset of some of the people who are making the legislation and putting us in really unpleasant positions.
Yes.
I mean, talk about a way to give them a wake-up call that benefits them.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of shouting and yelling and people getting angry, but I've never understood the whole you can get more flies with honey. Well, I don't want flies, but I do want things to be fair and to work in a way that has a future and a chance of success. And I don't think that's the path that a lot of these politicians are trying to put us on. So talk about a creative and impactful way to give them that wake up call, man. I certainly salute what you're doing there. That is,
thank you.
Really, really, could be some of the more impactful activities that I have seen. Let's see. It looks like Kevin is bringing something up here. There we go.
Yep, Diana Muller. There's the lady herself. She was here yesterday.
Nice.
And just her and her husband make a good tag team approach for education. They're sponsored by Daniel's Defense, Marty and Cindy Daniel, great people. They're just a lot of really good people that are she is in DC once a year, and she coordinates one woman from every state that goes in to meet with their state representatives. and basically says, I'm a gun owner, use me as a resource. This is my story. Please stop voting for gun control. And WOFT is a place that I teamed up with her to say, okay, use this as a resource. Where do they take them? Where do they take them and their family and their chief of staff? And where do they take them to learn or to experience and get educated about firearms? And more importantly, just safety. So how much money did they lose in the Herschel Walker election? You guys have any idea? Like how much money did they dump into that to,
No idea.
It was over
But-
It was over 100 million on the Democrat side, and Herschel Walker, I think they got him up to like 60 million, and he lost.
Sure.
Yeah. For $60 million, gentlemen, I could guarantee you. Think about this for a second. I could guarantee you a flashlight in the hands of every teacher in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Louisiana, and Alabama, included with safety training, which will get them like, take this flashlight home with you. And now with these safety concepts, this is going to help make you safer. And what I've experienced when I train teachers that might be left leaning, when they get empowered and they learn a little bit about the flashlight and they learn how it helps them, and now they're not afraid because all of them have a story where a homeless person approached them and it's getting worse. They start to move them a couple points to the right. It starts to move them a little bit more where they're like, I like the training with this, and now when I'm in the classroom with my students, I could probably use this flashlight, put it over in the corner, and if an active shooter or an active assailant comes in, they might look at that light first. It might buy me some time. This flashlight now I'm going to take home with me. It's also a roll of quarters, so I can use this for self-defense, and it helps them as the bridge, if you will, for the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, but I've experienced this, and I'm going, guarantee and experience. Stop getting one person elected. Take $20 million and focus on the 14 rhinos that are currently elected. Educate them, give them a little conviction so they stop voting that way. And I can do that. I can do that. I can do that.
Nice.
I can do that with,
I'd be totally fine, not swaying somebody more points to the right, but getting people that have zero knowledge on firearms that are making these laws.
Yes.
Like a guy who holds up a brace and says this makes a weapon a machine gun.
Yeah.
David Cicilline is one of our congressmen, our representatives, who has no idea about firearms. And I sent him an invitation. I said, sir, if you ever want to actually shoot a weapon, you let me know. I'll meet you anytime, anywhere, at any shooting range in this country, and we can actually show you what a firearm does.
So imagine if you had, because there's money out there, but there hasn't been access, and no one has known we exist. If you took that gentleman and you had another elected representative, someone like a constituent of his, offer him a private flight with his family to go do safety training for the weekend, and it's not firearms based, it's just based on safety concepts, and it's all expenses paid, it's private. No one will ever know he had the training. And if you provide that all expense paid on a private jet and spare no expense, that kind of an experience just for them to prove you wrong, right? That is my download. That is where we can help. And now all of a sudden when he goes back, he's like, oh, this bump stock is horrendous. I wouldn't want to shoot anything. I had to pull it away and it starts to walk up to the left every time I try to shoot anything. This is stupid. I would not use that at all. And you're going, yeah, you're right. You wouldn't. But, without a private facility and without someone funding it, you're not going to get them to move. But we're not talking a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. It's just not a lot of money when you talk about elections and advertising.
Right.
Yep.
Well, you had mentioned Diana a few times, so I figured I'd pull up that photo.
Yeah,
And
she's awesome.
just so you know, Jeff was standing about 2 feet away when I took this photo. He was right there too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, Diana,
Was
she
that
just
in your
wrapped.
booth?
Yeah, she just wrapped 5 days at the Ambassador Academy. So
Nice.
again, just really cool.
Yeah, incredible information, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank
Thanks for
you.
coming on. Really appreciate it. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up. If you don't mind hanging out, we can talk for hours in the after chat, but not tonight because we all have things to do tomorrow. But we can still touch base and wrap things up privately. But for now, I'm going to offer you something. You decide whether you want to do it or not. I have learned the hard way. You don't tell people this is what we're going to do, because then someone will be like, "Dude, I'm not doing that." So
I'm not doing it now.
We end the show the same way every week. Oh, there's Kevin. Look at that. All right, good to see you. All right, so I'm going to say until next week. Then we point at the camera and say we'll see you at the range. And again, it's up to you whether you point at the camera or not. I'm not telling you what to do.
I'm not
All
doing
right.
it now.
Until next week, we'll see you at the range.